Day 6, 50 minutes of total radio silence. 4 humans, completely alone, swinging behind the far side of the moon at over 24,000 miles per hour. No signal, no contact with Earth, no rescue if something goes wrong. And then, one of the crews starts showing symptoms nobody trained for. By the time we get to the end of this video, you're going to find out exactly what happened behind that wall of silence and why NASA has been very carefully controlling what gets released to the public. Stay with me until the very last second, because what I'm about to show you changes everything we thought we knew about this mission. Real quick, before we dive in, where in the world are you watching this right now? Drop your city in the comments. I want to see how far this story reaches. Now, let's go back to the beginning. April 1st, 2026, Kennedy Space Center. 4 astronauts climb into a capsule roughly the size of a small kitchen, and they do something no human being has done in over 50 years. They leave Earth's orbit entirely. Commander Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, Jeremy Hansen. These are not tourists. These are the most rigorously trained human beings on the planet, and even they will tell you nothing could have fully prepared them for what came next. 8 minutes after liftoff, the Space Launch System completes its primary burn. The roar of 5 million pounds of thrust goes completely silent. And just like that, they're in it. Deep space, the real thing. Inside Orion, the first 48 hours are controlled chaos. The bulky orange survival suits get stowed, lightweight flight gear goes on, environmental systems get checked and rechecked. These systems scrub carbon dioxide from the air and recycle every drop of water the crew uses. If they fail, the mission ends, not with a rescue, with a tragedy. Here's something NASA doesn't put in the press releases. The interior of Orion at this stage smells like a combination of rubber, recycled air, and industrial cleaning fluid. There is no shower, no running water. The crew uses rinseless soap and damp cloths to stay clean for 10 days. Every single meal is rehydrated by injecting water into a sealed pouch, because one loose crumb floating into the flight computers could short-circuit the entire spacecraft. These are not small inconveniences. These are the daily survival calculations of 4 people on the edge of the known world. And yet somehow, the hardest part wasn't the physical conditions. It was something else entirely. Something that started showing up in the data around hour 36. But we'll get to that. By day 3, Orion is deep in transit, and the mission has quietly shifted into something far more urgent than a test flight. NASA has made a major strategic decision. The Lunar Gateway, the massive orbital station that was supposed to serve as a stepping stone to the moon's surface, has been paused. The new plan is more aggressive, more direct, and significantly more dangerous. Skip the station, go straight to the surface, establish a permanent base at the lunar South Pole by 2029. That means this mission, right now, these 10 days, is no longer just about checking boxes. Artemis II has become a scouting mission for the future of human civilization. The target is Shackleton Crater, a pitch-black, permanently shadowed basin at the moon's south pole, where temperatures drop to nearly absolute zero. It sounds like a death trap, and honestly, from an engineering standpoint, it kind of is. But underneath that frozen darkness sits something priceless: water ice. And water ice on the moon means oxygen to breathe, water to drink, and hydrogen to fuel the rockets that will eventually take us to Mars. As Orion swings around the far side of the moon, the crew deploys high-resolution 4K laser sensors to map terrain that has never been seen in this level of detail. They are looking for stable ground for solar towers, the massive structures that will sit on sunlit crater rims to power a base living permanently in darkness below. They are identifying landing zones for the 25 launches that are already scheduled to follow them. This is not exploration anymore. This is infrastructure planning for a city that doesn't exist yet. But here's what made the hair stand up on the back of my neck when I found out about it. The crew is also quietly running drills that go well beyond the official mission profile. simulating 6-day survival scenarios inside their suits in case Orion's hull is compromised, practicing CPR in microgravity, which requires one astronaut to tether themselves to the ceiling just to apply enough downward pressure, testing emergency depressurization protocols in conditions that have never been tested with a live crew in actual deep space. NASA calls these contingency exercises, but the sheer number of them and how far outside the normal training envelope they go tells a different story. They weren't just preparing for what might go wrong, they were preparing for something specific. And on day 6, behind the moon, with no signal reaching Earth, it happened.
50 minutes of radio silence is built into every far-side transit. It's expected. It's physics. The moon blocks every frequency when Orion swings behind it, and mission control just has to wait. But this time, when the signal came back, the data dump from Orion included something that wasn't on the schedule: a medical event log, classified at the time under NASA's crew health privacy protocols, which is standard. What wasn't standard was the 12-minute gap in the environmental telemetry feed right in the middle of that blackout window, and the fact that the crew's heart rate data showed 2 of the 4 astronauts running significantly elevated readings for nearly 40 minutes before signal was restored. NASA has not confirmed the specific details. What they have confirmed is that the crew performed an unscheduled medical procedure during the far-side transit, that all 4 crew members returned to Earth in good health, and that, quote, all mission objectives were fully met. Here's what makes this bigger than one moment on one mission. The Artemis II crew spent 10 days proving that humans can survive deep space in a vessel the size of a small apartment. They mapped the future site of the first lunar city. They stress-tested every system, every protocol, and every contingency plan that the hundreds of engineers and scientists who follow them will depend on to stay alive. And in the middle of all of that, completely cut off from Earth, they handled something unexpected, in the dark, behind the moon, and they handled it themselves. That is what NASA is not afraid to show you. That is exactly what they want you to see. Because the message of Artemis II is not about rockets or craters or water ice, even though all of that matters enormously. The message is this: we are ready. The age of visiting the moon is finished. The age of living there has begun. The data from this mission is already being loaded into the planning systems for the 25 launches that follow. By the late 2020s, autonomous vehicles will be crawling across the Shackleton crater floor. 3D printers will be turning lunar dust into radiation-shielded walls, and the first permanent residents of another world will be breathing recycled air inside habitats that Wiseman, Glover, Koch, and Hansen made possible by surviving 10 extraordinary days in the most hostile environment a human being has ever entered. If this mission has shown us anything, it's that the hardest part of becoming a multiplanetary species was never the engineering. It was deciding, finally and completely, that we are actually going to do it. We just watched 4 people make that decision real. Hit subscribe if you want to be here when the next chapter starts, and drop one word in the comments describing how this mission makes you feel. I'll be reading every single one.